Caitlin Clark has a huge update.
Caitlin Clark has in fact returned to an extent. She has returned to an extent with the Indiana Fever. Look, Caitlin Clark is far from back.
Caitlin Clark finally touched the hardwood again, and the internet absolutely lost it. The moment a single clip surfaced, showing her casually stepping into a shot from the logo like she had never missed a beat. The basketball world froze.
It's far from being fully back and, everything's all good and we don't need to be worried because, let's be real, we kind of should be worried. Because, again, they're still being secretive about it. But at least this means we have to assume she's back this season.
One video a few seconds long, and suddenly every fan, every rival, and even the entire WNBA itself looked nervous, because if Caitlin Clark is back, then the entire balance of power just shifted. Think about how we got here. For weeks, fans lived in frustration, fed only vague injury updates from the Indiana Fever. Nothing was clear. Everything sounded like riddles. And then out of nowhere, boom! Here she is knocking down shots, moving with confidence, grinning like she's been waiting for this moment the whole time.
Everything I ever lost, I'm on me. We turned the whole house into a booth. We in the kitchen. Let her cook. Big Low come to frying shit. Hey, let her cook. Too much cake out there, bitch. Let her cook. All the sauce I'm trying shit. Let me cook. Hurry, keep the front. Give me head, I want your spine.
Forget the cryptic press releases. Forget Stephanie White's poker face media answers. Forget the endless day-to-day tag that stretched into months. The video said it all. Caitlin Clark is back. But here's the real question. How soon should she be thrown directly into the fire, reclaiming her starting spot right away? Or would it be smarter to bring her back slowly off the bench, easing into game speed?
So Caitlin Clark running 5-0 with the backups, which is, again, something that we hadn't seen before. So Caitlin's actually at practice. So this is the first we have heard of, Caitlin actually being at practice. And because Caitlin's at practice, we know at least the goal is and the expectation is that she's going to be back.
That debate is raging everywhere right now. So let's dive in, because this story is bigger than just one highlight. It's about how Caitlin Clark's return could rewrite the entire WNBA season. Let's start with a clip. 1 second. Fans were rolling their eyes at another confusing Fever update. And the next second, their feeds lit up with a short but explosive video. Caitlin Clark in full gear rising up from the logo swish. No hesitation, no limp, no sign of being in rehab mode.
Which is a positive thing for the Indiana Fever, because the Indiana Fever don't stand a single chance.
Now let's be real about what
this means, for it wasn't a casual warm-up drill. This was game-ready energy. Ron Arkin, WNBA Twitter, spiraled into a frenzy. Clips were reposted thousands of times, slowed down, dissected frame by frame. Reddit threads popped up with titles like "She's Back" and "Logo Caitlin Lives." Instagram fan pages were already editing highlight reels before the official accounts even acknowledged it. The sheer reach of that single moment proved what we already knew. Caitlin Clark isn't just a player. She's an event. And it wasn't just about her shooting. Anyone can put up jumpers during recovery. This looked different. Her movements were sharp. She cut to the basket. She dribbled with rhythm. She wasn't tentative. She wasn't testing her limits. She looked like a competitor itching to play. Fans watching could feel the difference. This wasn't a player in rehab. This was a player preparing for war. To really understand the shock, you have to look back at how the Fever handled this injury saga. For weeks, the updates were almost comical. First, she's day-to-day. Then she's sprinting full court. Days later, actually, she's not sprinting yet. Out of nowhere, she tweaked her ankle, too. But we didn't mention that before. The contradictions piled up, leaving fans completely in the dark. It felt like a secret society. The team operated behind a curtain, treating injury details like classified documents. No clear timeline, no transparency, just riddles and contradictions. Fans grew restless. Critics called it a circus. And the longer Clark sat out, the more conspiracy theories piled up. Was the team hiding the severity? Were they protecting ticket sales by keeping hope alive? Was Clark herself more hurt than anyone admitted? That's why the video landed like a bombshell. It bypassed all the theater. No more whispers. No more riddles. Fans didn't need words. They had evidence. And in a league where information is often limited, visual proof carries more weight than any press release. One shot from the logo told the truth that weeks of updates could not. Now, let's break down the details because every second of that clip told a story. Caitlin wasn't just out there jogging. She was moving with purpose, cutting, pivoting, attacking space. She handled the ball with her trademark swagger. She even smiled between reps. That's not the look of someone cautiously testing an injury. That's the body language of someone who feels like herself again. Aren't fans notice? Social media detectives zoomed in on her stride. They slowed the footage to catch every detail. Was she favoring the groin? Was there any hitch in her steps? The overwhelming conclusion, no. She looked fluid, confident, and game-ready. Another detail sparked even more speculation. She wasn't wearing a rehab-colored jersey. In practices, injured players usually rock a neutral shade to set them apart. Not Caitlin. She was in the same blue as the rest of the first unit. That tiny detail spoke volumes. It screamed, she's cleared for more than light drills. This wasn't a cameo. This was integration. Of course, not everyone is ready to crown her return just yet. Basketball legends and medical experts are urging caution. Lisa Leslie, one of the most respected voices in the game, flat out said the Fever should consider shutting Clark down for the season. Protect the franchise player. Don't gamble. Long-term health for short-term gain. Coach Stephanie White echoed the caution, saying, endurance and contact readiness matter more than a few flashy shots. And honestly, they're not wrong. Groin injuries are no joke. They're tricky, unpredictable, and can flare back up without warning. One wrong step, one awkward cut, and the progress could vanish. The safe route is to hold her out longer. But fans see the footage and think differently. They argue that if she's pulling up from the logo with ease, she's ready. She's not here to sit in street clothes. One fan tweeted, she's a competitor. Let her play. And they have a point, too. This isn't mid-season load management. This is crunch time. The Fever are clawing for survival. And Caitlin Clark wasn't drafted to watch from the bench. That's the clash right now. Medical caution versus competitive fire. And both sides have valid arguments. To grasp what's at stake, look at the Fever season without her. It's been duct tape and desperation. Lineups stitched together with hardship contracts. Role players stretched beyond their limits. Kelsey Mitchell asked to play superhero ball just to keep games close. Lexi Hull stepping up out of necessity, not design. And injuries piled on top of injuries. Sophie Cunningham out. Sydney Carlson sidelined. Ari McDonald gone. Chloe BBY limping. Without Clark, it's been survival mode. The team has been hanging by dental floss, trying to stay in playoff contention. And truthfully, they've been sinking. Every game without her felt like another step toward irrelevance. That's why this footage isn't just good news. It's season-saving news. With Clark back, even at 70%, suddenly the Fever have spacing. Suddenly Aaliyah Boston isn't double-teamed every possession. Suddenly Kelsey Mitchell doesn't have to carry the entire scoring load. Suddenly role players can slide back into roles that actually make sense. Clark's presence changes everything because defenses treat her gravity like no one else. And then there's a detail that sent the internet spiraling. Caitlin Clark's practice jersey. As mentioned, she wasn't rocking a rehab color. She was dressed like the starters. That might sound small, but in sports culture it's massive. Fans zoomed in, debated color shades, argued about practice traditions. It turned into a full-blown investigation. Ronk. The conclusion, if she's wearing the same gear as the first unit, she's not just dabbling. She's back in the mix. And the body language backed it up. She wasn't tentative. She wasn't scared. She was smiling, laughing, moving with joy. That emotional detail mattered just as much as the mechanics. Athletes recovering from injury often hesitate. Clark didn't. She looked ready. That silent confirmation is why fans are convinced she's closer to returning than the team is admitting. And maybe, just maybe, the Fever want that way. Keep the opponents guessing until the last second. Now comes the million-dollar question. When and how? Looking at the schedule, there's a matchup against the Chicago Sky that seems like the perfect return spot. The Sky aren't exactly title contenders, making it a low-risk game to test her legs. After that, the schedule gets tougher. If Clark is coming back, that game makes the most sense. But how should she return? Straight into the starting lineup or ease in from the bench? Don't laugh. Coming off the bench could be the smarter play. Remember Steph Curry's return during the playoffs? He started as a sub, built rhythm, then dominated. Sometimes a slow approach pays off. For Clark, 15, 20 minutes off the bench could strike the balance between impact and protection. Of course, fans will hate it. They want her on the floor from tip-off. They want fireworks. And honestly, so does the league. But realistically, a gradual return makes sense. The Fever have to protect their future while chasing the present. It's a tightrope walk, and every move will be scrutinized. This isn't just about Caitlin Clark's health. It's about the Fever's survival and the league's momentum. Without her, Indiana is toast. With her, they're dangerous. Even at less than 100%, her gravity shift defenses, open spacing, and boost morale. Teammates feed off her energy. Fans rally behind her. The WNBA's ratings spike when she plays. And let's not ignore the critics. There's a loud segment of fans who seem to despise everything Clark does. When she got hurt, they called her overhyped. Some even celebrated. But the second she appeared in practice footage, those same voices panicked. They know what's coming because Caitlin Clark at 80% is still a nightmare for defenses. Caitlin Clark at a 100%. Forget it, Ron. This isn't just about one return. It's about reshaping the playoff picture. With Clark, the Fever can push for the 7th or 8th seed. No one expects them to win a championship this year. But that's not the point. The point is playoff experience. Boston Mitchell and Clark gaining postseason reps now pays off massively for 2025. So here we are. Weeks of silence, confusion, and frustration, all broken by one clip. Caitlin Clark smiling, shooting, moving with confidence. Fans saw it, opponents saw it, the league saw it, and everything shifted. Ronks. The Fever season, which looked doomed, suddenly has a pulse. The WNBA's playoff picture, which seemed predictable, just got more interesting. And the ongoing debate, should she be unleashed right away or ease and slowly, will rage until the moment she checks in? Because Caitlin Clark isn't just a player, she's a catalyst. Her presence transforms her team, shakes her opponents, and drives the league's attention. The only real question left is, will Indiana risk it all for a playoff push or play it safe for the long game? Drop your answer in the comments. Should Caitlin Clark be unleashed immediately, or should the Fever protect their future star by easing her in? Either way, one thing is undeniable. Caitlin Clark is back, and the WNBA just got a whole lot more interest.